we're really excited to launch the 21 BTC 2 weeks ago. We launched on 30th of May. And now it is available for Solana users and the community to use and explore Bitcoin on Solana. So therefore, our topic here today is how does Solana enhance the trading experience of Bitcoin? And before we start, I'll give a quick introduction time for everyone here. So Rob, do you want to start first to introduce yourself as well as the company you work for?
Yeah, happy to. Thanks, Tom. So hi, everybody. I'm Rob. I work in the product team here at 21 Co. For those of you not familiar with 21 Co, we are one of the world's largest issuers of crypto ETPs and ETFs. We've been doing it in Europe and many other jurisdictions for several years. We also had one of the most successful spot Bitcoin ETF launches in the US. We also have a suite of wrap token products, most recently 21 BTC. And I have a background in tokenization and international financial regulation, as well as quant solutions for very large financial institutions. I'm excited to be here.
Thank you, Rob. Jurjen, do you want to go next?
Yes, sure. Thank you very much, Tom. And thank you very much for having me here today. I'm Jurjen. I'm focusing on strategic partnerships at FlowTraders. A little bit about FlowTraders. So we're a global multi-asset trading firm focused on fixed income, equities, precious metals, foreign exchange. In 2017, we moved into digital assets. So we started trading exchange-traded products on regulated market exchanges. Shortly thereafter, we integrated with centralized exchanges. And in 2020, we started building out our decentralized finance capabilities. Thus far and over the last couple of years, we have supported all the major new token listings globally. And we have been continuing to do so this year. Happy to be here.
Thank you, Jurjen. And last but not least, Mike, it's your time.
Hi, guys. This is Mike. So as a growth lead at Orca, I'm running the marketing and partnership side for Orca. A quick background of Orca, we're the leading DEX on Solana. Our base infrastructure is based on an AMM. We were first introduced as the third application to launch on Solana main app back in February 2021. Since then, we've had a pretty strong ride within the Solana ecosystem, continuing to be the core liquidity layer for Solana. We launched and open sourced the smart contract for concentrated liquidity in March 2023. And today we're doing approximately about 50% of Solana DeFi trading volume. Yeah. Great to be here, and thanks for having me.
Thank you very much for the awesome intro. And as you can see, we have an awesome lineup here from respective and respectful companies all across the crypto space. We have the traditional finance side, more on the FlowTraders and 21 Go, and more crypto native side with Orca. So you can see the institutional space as well as the crypto native sides of different ecosystems are merging together and finding synergies and collaborate deeper in the future as well. And before we start, as we're excited to have the topic more about 21 BTC and how Solana can help Bitcoin with the trading experience. Rob, we recently launched 21 BTC as a wrapped Bitcoin product for the ecosystem. Would you mind giving us a quick intro and overview of 21 BTC and why people want to use it on Solana?
Yeah, happy to, Tom. So we observed that Solana has done incredibly well over the last several years, especially in the last year. And we heard very loudly that folks want a safe and secure, usable way to have Bitcoin on Solana and be able to have confidence that the Bitcoin represented on Solana is able to do all the wonderful things you can expect to use on Solana, but has the sort of the safety and security that you'd expect in a lot of other areas. And that's what we are bringing to the table with 21 BTC as the technology provider for it. 21 BTC is a wrapped custodial version of Bitcoin on Solana. We don't use lock and mint technology. We use a lot of the institutional grade security that you would expect for other markets. As I mentioned, 21 Co as a parent company has been doing ETPs for a long time. A lot of the same behaviors and expertise that we've developed over the years is very useful for offering a custodially wrapped product or supplying the technology for it. And in doing so, you can use BTC as you wish and all the different DeFi use cases on Solana and still get the exposure of Bitcoin. And our sort of thesis with this is anything you can dream of, you can do confidently with Bitcoin now on Solana with wrapped Bitcoin or 21 BTC.
Thank you, Rob. And to summarize Security is very important, and 21 Co. put a lot of emphasis on providing a secure and easy access of Bitcoin for the Solana ecosystem. Now you can use 21 BTC to access the Solana ecosystem while having exposure to the Bitcoin price as well. But of course, it's not financial advice. A quick reminder to everyone here. And Bitcoin definitely has evolved tremendously as an asset over the course of the past decade. At the very beginning, people have tremendous challenges to access Bitcoin. And then through the course of time, we have centralized exchange. People can buy Bitcoin easily on centralized exchanges. And nowadays, recently, we even have the ETF, like the Bitcoin ETF, so that people can even access Bitcoin as a financial instrument through the traditional finance market. And Jurjen, you would be the best person to answer that. So nowadays, you can access Bitcoin in traditional finance markets. You can access Bitcoin on centralized exchanges. And nowadays, you can even access it on decentralized exchanges. So as a professional market maker with tremendous experience in providing liquidity in these venues, how do factors like liquidity, execution, and user experience vary between traditional markets, SEXs and DEXs? Can you rank them based on these criteria?
Yes, thank you, Tom. That's a very interesting question. I think what's good to note is that if you look back in basically the history which we have in crypto, we started with exchange traded products. So basically the ETNs in Europe, of which 21 Shares has also issued several. Shortly thereafter, we integrated with the centralized exchanges. So we already moved from traditional finance markets into the centralized exchange market. And later on, we moved into the decentralized exchanges as well. If you basically want to rank them, it's good to look at, I think, for one, counterparty risk. You need to assess accessibility, fees, and also broad use cases. So if you start with traditional finance exchanges, I would deem their overall counterparty risk relatively low, given all the security measurements which traditional finance markets have in place. Accessibility, if you compare it especially with a centralized exchange where you can very easily set up an account, then traditional finance markets might have lower accessibility. Management fees on the other end, of course, when there's an ETP product or an ETF being issued, then there's a management fee being charged. So that could result in a potential drag on performance. Besides that, if you look at broader use cases, then of course you can buy an ETF on a traditional finance market, but you can't really reuse it. If you look at the possibilities which decentralized finance offers, so if you have Bitcoin on Solana, then you can also use it as collateral within the Solana DeFi ecosystem. So that makes that part much more interesting. I think if you look at centralized exchanges specifically, there your counterparty risk is much higher. I think we all remember what happened with FTX. Even though those centralized exchanges have a high accessibility, they have a seamless UI which you can easily use for trading. So those are all big pluses. And then I think lastly, there comes basically with a decentralized exchange, where we would also deem the counterparty risk relatively low, also a high accessibility, but it provides much broader use cases because you basically are already active in the DeFi ecosystem, which you can then use more broadly in, for example, on-chain borrowing lending markets, just as an example.
This is really valuable insight, Jurjen. And as you can hear that different venues have different types of trade-offs, and it essentially doesn't have the best solution or the worst solution per se, but it depends on how a user wants to do the trade-off in terms of, for example, like counterparty risk, accessibility, and even fees, for example. And Jurjen, I would like to double down on your vision in the future, because everyone here wants to get some alphas on how FlowTraders as a professional market maker sees the future, or for example, just your opinion, it could work as well. So given each route, or given each venue has its trade-off, which way is the most preferable option today, and will it change in 5 to 10 years' time, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think it's a very good question, but also a really difficult one to answer. I think if you look at more from a user-based perspective, you would expect much more degens in the DeFi ecosystem or with centralized exchanges. While if you look at general stock markets, then basically anyone there could be trading, even like 80 or 90-year-old persons there. You would not expect those people to, for example, create a ledger, use it, and do any activities on the DeFi side of things. How do we see the future evolving? We do see a big trend, of course, in tokenization. So whatever people are now doing in traditional finance markets, whether it being trading equities, ETFs, fixed income, precious metals, all those assets have a potential use case on chain. So we do see a convergence there between traditional finance markets and crypto. However, we would expect that to take quite a considerable amount of time. So a 5 to 10 year time horizon for something like that, I think would still be feasible.
Awesome. Yeah, and that's why we're here, right? Being FlowTraders and 21Co being the experts in traditional finance, they are one of the leading companies that are dabbling into the futuristic technologies like blockchain, tokenization, so on and so forth. And we are seeing the early innings of financial companies, financial giants adopting blockchain technology as a technology to issue and tokenize financial assets, such as BlackRock has recently tokenized BOGO on Ethereum. And then you can also see that Ondo Finance, also a real-world assets manager, they are also tokenizing a US Treasury fund on Solana blockchain as well. So we can see that blockchain technology definitely has a huge synergies with traditional finance as well. It's not only for crypto degen use case, even though nowadays it has been widely adopted mainly by retail users, but in the future, Jurjen has a really good point that the technology is really superior here. Not only can serve the retail clients, but also institutional use cases as well. And I would like to come back to you, Rob, as 21Co has tremendous experience in both crypto ETPs and tokens as well. What is your thesis or vision regarding the experience of trading Bitcoin in the future? Because Jurjen also mentioned different types of trade-offs, different types of benefits and cons when it comes to trading on centralized exchanges, taxes, as well as traditional market. And what's your view in here?
It's a great question. I think oftentimes things move so fast in DeFi and blockchain-based products that you stop and forget just how far we've come in the last decade plus. I think we have a thesis that people should be able to use Bitcoin as they wish. And as Jurjen mentioned, you've seen a lot of the evolution of getting exposure and then the different use cases that you have in Bitcoin and other digital assets. And we feel the same with Bitcoin. You had the rise of the ETPs, you had a lot of centralized exchange listings, you had that phase, you had the DeFi summer explosion with different apps, you had the different like endpoint layer with the Bitcoin ATMs that have been around forever. And I see a continuation of this evolution. It's people want to do whatever they can dream of with Bitcoin. Bitcoin has this very special place in blockchain. It's got immense trust by the blockchain itself, and it has this like buy-in from the whole community. And people want to do lots of different things with this. I think that's how I see this evolving. And there's a big gap that we observed with Bitcoin on Solana, allowing users to interact with it safely in the different protocols and platforms and venues that exist on Solana that have been in market and trusted and scaled for years. And I think we're going to see a continuation for this, not just with 21BTC, but lots of other opportunities. We thought we were exceptionally well positioned to offer 21BTC because we've been doing custodial-based products for years with the ETPs and ETFs and other wrapped assets, and we feel the same for 21BTC. And I think it just goes back to, at the end of the day, we believe in building products that allow customers to do the thing that they want to do. And we feel that 21BTC has a nice role to play in that.
Exactly. I think Rob has a really good point on if you have a Bitcoin, it shouldn't be just limited to using it on the Bitcoin blockchain, right? It should allow users to have that kind of exposure and leverage it and explore different ecosystem as well. And before we launch on Solana, there's also another solution on Ethereum, and it has enabled tremendous opportunities for people to use and explore different ecosystem and DeFi opportunities on Ethereum. And now we want to provide the same accessibility as well as provide them 21BTC holders with the DeFi opportunity so that they can try out different new protocols. For example, if you hold Bitcoin, right, you don't have the opportunities to leverage DeFi. You can't use it on decentralized exchanges. You can't use it on a lending markets. You can't provide liquidity and earn potential fees and rewards. However, with 21BTC, you can enjoy and even try out different new protocols on the Solana blockchain, which is not being able to experience before 21BTC launch. And Orca being one of the leading decentralized exchange on Solana, right? And we are honored to have Mike in our Twitter space here. And I would like to ask you a quick question here. And so do you see any synergies with a traditional stock exchange or centralized exchanges? And if not, do you see Orca competing with these exchanges in the long run, or will each avenue serve a different user group?
Yeah, great question, Tom. I think on the topic of that, at Orca, we see ourselves complementing each other with traditional stock exchanges and centralized exchanges rather than being like a direct competitor. As everyone just like mentioned, a quick overview from the DEX's perspective. I think traditional exchanges offer obviously much efficient trading experiences, and also attracts like a much broader user base. However, obviously that comes with inherent trade-offs, as Rob mentioned before. Counterparty risk is a big one, and also the fact that there's a centralized entity. For Orca, however, on the other hand, we leverage the benefits of us being an AMM, where anyone can provide liquidity and trade easily through the liquidity pools. So with that perspective, I think for DEXs, Orca, we facilitate much easier capital formation for long tail assets. I think is like the biggest difference that we have compared to centralized exchanges, where I guess like traditional centralized exchanges focus mainly on high volume or mainstream assets to onboard those broad user bases. DEXs provide a platform for where users can create liquidity pools for a diverse range of assets, including like the niche and emerging coins. I guess like right now we see that as meme coins as like the biggest trend. This kind of democratization of market access definitely allows for much more efficient trading and instant trading for those kind of emerging tokens. It is like a very unique side that DEXs provide. But coming back to the complementary relationship, how Orca sees it is that Orca is essentially the gateway for any emerging tokens to be traded on like for any individual user. If that token is more broadly committed within the ecosystem, then obviously centralized exchanges list that token. And as the bid-ask spread gets more narrower, then we see both volume on DEXs move on to like lower fee tier pools, and also meaning that the centralized exchanges are doing their job where the token is traded more efficiently. But the TLDR is basically, I think that we are very complementary and each have different venues where we excel at. And I think it will be very good moving forward.
Awesome. Thank you, Mike. And it is also interesting that Orca is also taking a more compliant approach as compared to other DEXs in the market, right? You guys have been following or having some regulatory function so that you won't provide any tokens to US persons, for example, which I find it interesting, which is comparatively following the more regulated decentralized finance vision of the market as well. And after we shared some of the insights on what are the existing route or what are the existing venues people can trade on, where are the existing venues that people can trade Bitcoin on, we would like to move forward to the next topic, which is about why would people choose Solana for trading Bitcoin? And Mike, I would like to pick on your brain again. So can you give us a walkthrough on the history of Bitcoin and Solana? So what are the options that Solana ecosystem previously have, and what options do they have now?
Yeah, sure. That's a very great question as well. Just to give a quick briefer on what Bitcoin has been doing on Solana specifically. I think in the very early days, FTX actually developed SolBTC, like Solid BTC. That was like a big, that gained a lot of significant transaction in the early days. I think in terms of figures, for SolBTC was at somewhere around the billions. Unfortunately, after the collapse of FTX, that wasn't there anymore. And then there was a few other projects that tried to provide the liquidity for BTC, that being WBTC from Wormhole and also TBTC from Threshold Network. But since it is also important to note that they're all bridge assets. So it is a different perspective in terms of like security and operations compared to 21BTC. Yeah, I guess that's like the briefer on the history of Bitcoin on Solana.
Awesome. Thanks a lot, Mike. And Mike is definitely leaving a tremendous space here for you, Rob, because right now we're launching 21BTC, right? So Mike's intros has shown that Solana is previously lacking a reliable wrap Bitcoin because like you have a counterparty risk from Solar Bitcoin. And then you also have a potential bridge risk if you're using bridge solution from Threshold Bitcoin as well as the Wrap Bitcoin from Wormhole. So apart from the market needs, from a developer's angle, why would 21 Co pick Solana to deploy 21 BTC?
Yeah, happy to take this one, Tom. We observed the just explosion of activity and users and frankly just builders, which are the predecessor a lot of times to the users on Solana. And we were highly interested in filling this space because if you can have confidence as a project or a developer on Solana that the thing that you're integrating with and the sort of this like building block layer that you're building on top of is safe and secure and scalable, then you're going to select that 10 out of 10 times. And we've heard this through project leaders and product leaders from the last several months, and honestly, even prior to then, which is the impetus of our whole sort of wrapped idea concept. And so this can be anything. This can be wallets, this can be lending protocols, this can be integrations, this can be, like you name it. There are people interested in building solutions that use Bitcoin as this like building block layer at the core of it. And so that was going back to the core idea of 21 BTC. That's really what it comes down to, is providing a safe, scalable like foundation layer that others can use to build on top of. And we mirror this experience again, that we think we're in a very good position to do this because we've been doing it for a long time, since 2019, even before then a little bit, of offering ETP-based products that follow some of these rules that we've learned for decades of it's oftentimes safer to have a custodian. It's good to have transparency. It's good to have predictable settlement. And bringing a lot of those features into 21 BTC and then unleashing them on Solana so others can build on top of them, that's really exciting. And we're excited to finally be able to offer this for a lot of the projects we've been talking to for a long time.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rob. And I would like to double down a little bit on the DeFi side of things. Jurjen, can you share the benefits of trading Bitcoin on Solana?
Yeah, sure, Tom. Thank you. I think it's a very interesting product to look at. You can look at 21 BTC more as like a collateral asset as well. So you can use it, for example, in the on-chain borrowing lending markets on Solana. You can use that collateral in the future, maybe as well on centralized exchanges, but also for perpetual DEXs, for example. We see that there, the use cases are endless for 21 BTC. And I think what's especially interesting is that it allows users to effectively make use of their otherwise idle Bitcoin, which would otherwise be just laying around. So now they can effectively make most out of their idle Bitcoin.
Awesome. And on that topic, we are already working with and in talks with leading lending protocols on Solana. And hopefully we will be able to share some exciting news to everyone here. And Jurjen, I would like to follow up. Like you mentioned, there are some lending protocols that is on your radar right now. Is there any other Solana applications that excites you? Or do you have any good user experience that you can share with everyone in the audience here?
Yeah, I think a really good example is indeed also if you look at Orca. They have been doing a very great job for providing a very smooth user experience for people. The interaction is great. There's great liquidity available there for a lot of assets. So I see that as one of the key examples there. They've also shown to be a reputable partner. They've been already around for a very long time. Hence, we foresee just a great future for the Orca team in general.
This is a really huge stamp of approval because Orca previously, when it first started, Solana is still a relatively emerging ecosystem, right? So a lot of the users are remaining to be retail crypto degens. But nowadays, you can see that a traditional finance player like FlowTraders, a huge market maker in the traditional finance space, also sending praises to the infrastructure, the team at Orca. You can see that institutionalized DeFi ecosystem, or institutions are actually coming to the Solana ecosystem firstly with 21 BTC as well. And another question is to Mike, to spice up the conversation a little bit, considering the competitive landscape, right? What unique advantages does trading Bitcoin on Solana offer compared to on Ethereum? Because as we all know, Ethereum also has a huge Wrap Bitcoin, right? Or you can also compare it to other layer one blockchains. There are a lot of new alternative layer ones, right? You can have Avalanche, Telegram Ton blockchain, even move-based blockchain like Sui and Aptos. What do you think are the key differences or the competitive advantage of Solana there?
Sure. I think on that question, I think we can definitely explore some of the key advantages that Solana has over ETH and other L1 blockchains, especially when it comes to trading Bitcoin. I think the biggest thing that everyone obviously knows, firstly, is that Solana is high throughput and fast settlement times. I think it's a significant difference that it has over definitely ETH. And that kind of relates to a much bigger enhancement in the trading experience, reducing the latency and the costs. The transaction fees on Solana are very cheap compared to ETH. ETH, there's gas fees. Solana, on the other hand, has very low fees when trading. The other big bucket is obviously Solana's ecosystem. Jurjen, thank you so much for the kind words on complimenting Orca. But I guess because Solana as an L1 blockchain and also much bigger as an ecosystem, I think it has definitely been battle tested for the past, I guess, 3 to 4 years. That itself, that leads to more developers and also more community members. I think that is like quintessential for ensuring not only the safety of the ecosystem, but also to ensure like the activity of the ecosystem prolongs for a much longer time. I know like on the other side, there could be people who are looking at this at a much shorter time period, maybe 2 to 3 years. But if you really do look at this on a 5 to 10 year horizon, I really do think it's very important for L1 blockchains to create that foundation of developers, of community members that actually use and actually transact, actually use like various dApps. That leads to a network effect of when there is that call for actual real life adoption. I think it will go much longer. Yeah, so I think that those are the bigger benefits that Solana offers compared to the other L1s.
Yeah, I agree more because every ecosystem at its crux, if you want to onboard more users, you need to have a list of high quality applications in order to attract more users, right? And therefore, a group of talented developers, founders are extremely important so that we can onboard more users, build more exciting applications for people to use it as well. So back into the trading Bitcoin on Solana's perspective, as well as 21 BTC specifically, I would like to quickly ask Jurjen, because now we are closely working with FlowTraders to provide great liquidity on decentralized exchanges so that when people are trading 21 BTC, they could be trading at ease and having a good user experiences as well. What markets are FlowTraders currently active in? Jurjen, will you mind sharing more insights on this?
Yeah, thank you, Tom. Yeah, so we've been around since 2004 as a firm. So we have been historically focused on traditional finance markets, so being fixed income, equities, precious metals, foreign exchange. Yeah, and since 2017, we have been building out our crypto capabilities. So now we see indeed that Solana has been picking up greatly, I think, especially since the end of last year, overtaking Ethereum on, for example, number of active wallet addresses on chain. So in that sense, they are crushing the numbers. If we look at 21 BTC, also from a use case perspective, the biggest short-term use case we see is mainly on the on-chain borrowing lending market. Then on the longer term, we see that it can be used indeed as collateral for centralized exchanges and on decentralized exchanges. So that's something where, as a firm, you could even save some in fees, where you can then transfer 21 BTC, which is then, your Bitcoin natively on Solana, which would result in transferring that asset quicker, but also cheaper across different wallet addresses.
Awesome. Yeah, it's really great insight there. For 21 BTC specifically, which venues are FlowTraders active in for providing liquidity right now?
So currently we provide liquidity on both Orca and on Radium.
Gotcha. Thank you very much. And of course, at 21 Co, we hope to expand the offerings to and integrate with more different applications in the future, as well as integrate with more potentially centralized exchanges, decentralized exchanges, and lending markets further down the line. We're really happy to have Mike, Jurjen, and Rob here, so that for the audiences that is tuning in, I will leave the three speakers a time slot to share some outlets for the listeners here. So Rob, do you want to start first? So maybe you can share some sneak peek into the exciting projects or developments that 21 Co is currently working on related to Solana or 21 BTC, And what should the community be looking forward in the near future?
Yeah, happy to share some closing thoughts. So we're excited about a lot. We are in touch with a lot of the top protocol founders. We're working very hard and committing resources to this from the 21 Co perspective to get the leading integrations live. It should be no surprise, building on Jurjen's comments, that we're working very closely to enable all the use cases for, like, you name it. So basically any activity that you see on Solana, we want 21 BTC to be a part of. And we're also always willing to take some feedback. So if you're a project out there that is doing interesting things, we would love to talk to you. One of the more exciting things that I've felt is I've gone to a lot of developer conferences, I've gone to a lot of different events, and the Solana ecosystem is just incredible, and having the projects help each other. And so we've been just astounded at how much support we've gotten for the analytics layer, the lending markets layer, the wallets layer. And we're just really excited about the things coming in the very near future. Lots to come. This launch is just the beginning, and excited for the weeks and months that are ahead of us.
Awesome. Essentially, there's a lot to unpack, but then we can't share every details. But so everyone, if you're interested to keep an update and keep an eye on 21 BTC, just follow our 21 domain account, follow Rob, follow Carlos, follow me, and you will get the latest update regarding 21 BTC. Jurjen, do you have any exciting developments and update you would like to share related to FlowTraders or Solana ecosystem in general?
Yeah, I think if you look at the Solana ecosystem in general, that there's already quite a lot of activity. I think if you look at Europe, we already have what we call an exchange traded product, or you can structure it as a node or for Solana. So, for example, 21 Shares has already an ETP for Solana since, I think, in 2021. Correct me if I'm wrong, Tom. We would be eager to see if, for example, the US, as soon as the Ethereum ETF is approved and live, when we can, of course, expect a Solana ETF. I think that would be a game changer for a lot of institutions to also be able to access Solana natively on traditional finance markets.
Awesome. I'm sure a lot of people would be excited by that idea with the upcoming ETF conversation. Absolutely. It is an exciting topic to unpack in the future as well. And lastly, Mike, do you have anything you would like to share regarding Orca related to the Solana ecosystem in general? What are you guys cooking? Any exciting stuff we should be aware of?
Yeah, definitely. The first thing I did want to mention is that Orca is currently in open beta of Orca V2. So Orca V2 is basically a full revamp of our UI UX. And also we're doing big improvements in our backend infrastructure. This is obviously this upgrade is aimed to provide a much smoother and more efficient and user-friendly experience for all of our core users, like whether that be traders, LP, or even builders using our SDK. So definitely, if anyone is in the spaces, feel free to just drop into our site, Orca. And if you have the basic DeFi setup ready, you can trade LP and see the updated UI UX, test it out. If there's any bugs or any issues with the user experience, feel free to share it to me or with the bug report form that we have on our Twitter, the main Twitter pinned to our main Twitter account. That'll be very helpful. Yeah, like the whole ethos here is that we're currently trying to build in the open. Definitely, I think the resurgence of the Solana ecosystem was put us off guard because, to be very honest, 2023 was a very big bear market for Solana in general. It was only 6 months ago where we saw like the big comeback of Solana. So we definitely weren't fully prepared for that. However, we're taking a very different approach now where we're building in the open, trying to receive user feedback and then build on top of that. I think is like a very much better approach where we can do much more things to users. Yeah. Other than that, I think the Solana ecosystem is also very growing in general. There's various events for next week. There's one in KL in Malaysia where a lot of like the Solana ecosystem people will be joining in the APAC region, and also Breakpoint, which is happening in September, is also going to be happening in Singapore. Other than that, I think, once again, come onto our website, try it out. If there's anything that we should improve on, please let us know. Thanks.
Thank you, Mike. Rob, do you have a question? Is it a question that you want to ask?
No, just a quick shout out. So if anybody's interested in PTC outside of the block explorers, we have an incredible Dune dashboard on the 21Co Dune site. Check it out. You can see how it's being used. You can see the different breakdowns of the collateral and everything. Just wanted to call that out because it's super cool. And someone here who's maybe hosting may have had a big hand in launching that.
Awesome. Thank you very much, Rob. And definitely check out our Dune dashboard if you want to see more stats related to 21BTC. And lastly, thank you very much for joining our Twitter space. Thank you, Rob, Jurjen, and Mike, for being our speakers and sharing really impressive insights, invaluable insights to everyone here. And don't forget to follow them, Orca, FlowTraders, as well as Rob, if you want to know more about Orca, FlowTraders, and 21Co, especially 21BTC. So feel free to ask them, shoot them a DM if you have any question. And thank you very much, everyone. Hope you have a great weekend. Bye-bye.
Thanks, everyone. Thanks,
Thank
Tom.
you, sir. All right.
Thank you, everyone.